It's that time of day. Work is done, tasks are done, emails, meetings are done, chores are done. And now I get to just sit down and ponder about life with all my feather babies. So come along. Bubby. Hi, Bubby. Hi, Puppy. Do you remember when you believed you could do almost anything? Before every dream needed a backup plan? Before every idea came with the list of reasons it probably wouldn't work? Before you started wondering whether you were too old, too late, or just running out of time? That question followed me home from a recent family trip that we took up to the Mount Baker Wilderness. I was watching my adult children hiking, playing, laughing, talking about all their uncertain futures. And it made me wonder, when did we actually stop believing that everything is possible? And where did all the fearlessness we had go to? Because truthfully, I really want some of them back. And if you have ever wondered what happened to that version of you, then let's talk. I'm La, and this is my series, Sitting with the Chickens, here on the Accidental Chicken Whisper, where we have conversations about life, midlife, and whatever the chickens and I are trying to understand today, even if we solve absolutely nothing but enjoy each other's company. And today, I want to talk about that childhood belief when we thought anything was possible, about the way adulthood slowly makes us more cautious, sometimes even more scared, and about what my children reminded me while we were together in the mountains. Recently, we spent 4 days away from the world. It was just my husband and me, our three adult children, and our 17-year-old son. No chickens, no feather babies. There was no cell service, no constant connection to the outside world, no work messages, no social media response posting, no, none of that stuff where we're being pulled in different directions. It was just us. And it was a nice break. We hiked, we camped, we sat near the river, played in that cold river, grabbed water from that river. We just spent time in the mountains and the forests and even did something that my husband always wanted. We painted rocks and left them behind in some of the places that we've hiked. We cooked, or actually more like I cooked. Apparently, my kids, being adult, doesn't relieve me from being mom. Because during that whole time, it's always, Mom, what are we packing? And Mom, what are we having for dinner? Isn't that kind of funny, though? They're adults, but somehow Mom is still responsible for dinner and all of our meals, including packing not only my day hiking backpack, but apparently I have 5 more to do. Who knew? Apparently, adulthood does not release mom from being mom, but it's okay. There was something really special about that time together, especially because all my kids aren't always under the same roof. So I would gladly do it all over again. It really was nice though, just to sit around with all the kids and, over wine and beer for the adults, of course. But what was more important was the talk we all had while I cooked and prepped dinner. And those are moments that I have to say I cherish deeply. And a part of me really wants to hold on to all of them for as long as I can. We finally had space to just share and listen to what was really going on in each other's lives without the distraction of technology and the outside noises of the world. It really was wonderful listening to them just talk about their dreams, their jobs, their hopes, all of their uncertainty, whatever plans that they have for the next year, 5 years, and for some, just a complete lack of a plan. My 19-year-old daughter is still trying to figure everything out. She's exactly, doing what she should be doing, taking a gap year, and we're okay with it. And for her, she knows she still has some time to decide what comes next. And there was my 26-year-old who is a couple years into her job after college, and she's still learning who she is and what kind of life she wants to have and goals she wants to pursue. Then there's my 32-year-old son who, as of late, have been feeling a bit more uncertain. He is wondering whether he should stay in his job, make a move, or perhaps jump into entrepreneurship. There's a feeling he has that maybe he should have figured things out by now. But despite feeling a little directionless, I see his enthusiasm again and that drive to pursue something, that fearlessness. Perhaps it's his age. That time is still a little bit on his side. And then there's my 17-year-old who is about to become a senior in high school. The world has not even fully opened up for him yet. Right now, he is just involved, with everything from student government to spending time with his friends, and generally, seems pretty much content to let tomorrow be tomorrow. Then there's my husband, who is already working on a 10-year retirement plan. He's talking about investment a lot more now. It's about, in regards to the stocks he's purchasing, retirement, and when we should be ready to sell our vintage RV camper and get a smaller camper van. He does not want to, of course, retire and just sit at home and do nothing. That's not who he is. But I know that he wants us to be able to just get up and go whenever and just be outdoors, hiking and glamping, until we can't. And somewhere in the middle of all those different stages of life was me, wondering, where exactly do I stand? Not as young as my children, with what feels like unlimited time ahead of me, but also not thinking about winding down like my husband. Not even a little bit. There are still things that I truly want to still build. There are still dreams that I have. There are still plenty of goals that I still want to accomplish, such as my Kofifi Media company. It's still taking shape. I'm still learning this whole thing. I still have videos and topics that I want to record. I still want to finish my unlicensed chicken therapy book. Got to get going on that. I still have plenty of articles for my fundraisers notebook on Substack that I need to publish. I feel like finally, after 18 years of professional experience, I have a lot to share with the world, even though I no longer am in that field. And there's my food cart. It still needs a decision about what comes next, right? Whether I sell it, whether I change it, or just release it completely. There's also this desire to bring together everything life has already taught me. 18 years in fundraising, almost a decade of entrepreneurship, years of storytelling, years of ideas that have been sitting quietly, waiting, to go somewhere, waiting for me, more like it. And underneath all of that is a desire to leave something behind, to continue my life of service. Whether that service happened through fundraising, through feeding people at the food cart, or through the stories and work that's being created right now, I feel this calling that I'm supposed to be doing something more, something else, but I don't know what that something else is yet. Are you also at a point where you're also beginning to ask whether everything you have lived through is supposed to become something? Whether the experiences, the mistakes, the skills, and the hard earned wisdoms are meant to be used in a different way? Because I'm questioning myself a lot lately, in fact. It's ever since I turned 50, more like it. It seems like somewhere inside all of those questions, another one appeared. And I'm wondering what happened to the version of me who believed that she could do anything. I swear, when I was younger, belief came more easily. There was just this sense that if something was on my heart and I wanted it badly enough, a way could be found, like it just appeared. Putting myself out there didn't feel quite as frightening, and every detail did not need to be figured out before I began. I just jumped in, did it. There was no need for a perfect plan, a backup plan, or even an emergency plan or 5 to 10 year projection. There was just this undeniable belief that I will accomplish everything I set out to do. At 21, 25, even 30, there was hope. There were dreams. There was this fire in me. There was this conviction that something was possible simply because I had decided to try. Maybe that is one of the strange things about getting older. We do become more capable. We are more experienced. We have survived things that we once thought might break us. And yet, the thought of failure somehow begins to feel heavier. Not because we have never done hard things or never failed, but somehow because we now understand the cost of things going really wrong. And I mean really wrong. We know what disappointment feels like. We know what it means to lose time, money, energy, and maybe even confidence. We know that effort does not always guarantee the outcome. God, I wish it did. In my own life, leaving a successful 18-year career and opening a food cart in a food business was not easy. The food cart has survived economic changes, rising costs, the pandemic, changing customer behaviors, and all kinds of outside factors that none of us can control. And, this tiny little media company that's being built, I feel it is still taking shape. And honestly, the more videos I make, the clearer the direction becomes. The books are now just, no longer an idea. They have already been started. So there is proof that beginning again is possible for me. There is proof that difficult things can be done. And yet, 50-year-old law still gets compared to 20-year-old law by me. And in my memory, the younger version was brave. She was much braver. She was fiercer. She believed that there is a world of possibility. At 50, time feels different. Another 10 years no longer sounds abstract anymore. Goodness, it feels so close, like 60 is almost here for me. It becomes possible to imagine turning that age and wondering whether the same dreams will still be sitting there waiting for the right time. Are you also feeling that pressure of getting older? Not necessarily because life is over, but because we finally understand how quickly time moves. I mean, in my case, I feel like the last 5 years just came and gone. And it felt like one moment I was celebrating my big 30, and now my husband's telling me we need to start thinking about retirement. I'm just seeing people my age now getting sick. Many of them are passing. The years that once felt endless has started moving so much faster. And strangely, death itself is not what frightens me most. What frightens me most is regret. The thought of having ideas, wisdom, creativity, and something meaningful to offer the world, but never finishing it because I was too scared to put it out there for the world. The thought of carrying important goals for years without ever even giving them a real chance. And the fear that time might pass faster than courage returning. Maybe that is perhaps one of the quieter fears of midlife that I'm understanding. Not simply what if I fail, but what if I never truly try? And maybe that is why watching my children affected me so much during my most recent trip. I wonder if this is just what happens to us. I wonder if somewhere between raising kids, paying bills, taking care of aging parents, navigating careers, and simply trying to build a life, we slowly stop dreaming with childlike wonder, believing that anything is possible. Not because we have become pessimistic, but because we have lived long enough to know that life can hurt. We have been disappointed, we have failed, we have lost people we love, and seen people getting sick all around us. We have watched plans fall apart. So, somewhere along the way, we quietly traded possibility for practicality. We've stopped expecting surprises. We've stopped believing that life might still have something unexpected waiting for us. So, it got me into thinking perhaps that is probably what I was really grieving on that trip. Not so much my youth, nor my age. I mean, it is what it is. I'm 50, midlife, been at midlife for a while. But it's that quiet confidence I used to have that there was still another adventure around the corner, that I have time. I mean, my children, they have their own responsibilities. They have uncertainty about their life and their future. They really are not as carefree as they think they are, or at least maybe how I think they are. But they still seem to carry this belief that life is still open for them. They can talk about their worries while I cook, and an hour later be so carefree and content just making s'mores around the campfire. And I love seeing that. They can wonder what they should do with their careers and still paint rocks like kids again. They can feel uncertain and still have fun. They can live inside a question without treating the question like a disaster. Maybe that is what many of us miss. I mean, for me, not necessarily being young again, but the ability to believe that uncertainty might still contain possibility. Believe me, I don't want to be 21 again. There is so much, or there is too much I know now. Too much life has taught me. I sometimes feel like I have lived too many lives inside this one lifetime. And I could never trade my experiences nor wisdom for anything. But maybe experience is not supposed to make us afraid of everything. Maybe wisdom is not supposed to remove the magic, right? Maybe being responsible doesn't mean we have to stop believing that something wonderful, unexpected, or meaningful could still happen. Even in the mountains, I notice how much more cautious I have become. I love hiking, but my fear of heights feels so much stronger now. I don't know what happened to me. It's like the terrain, I study it a lot more carefully now. My descent is much more careful. Every possible outcome gets considered even more so. And sadly, lately, it's just been a lot more hesitation. And I wonder what happened to the young woman who believed that she could do anything and go anywhere. Of course, my children still cannot match my endurance in the mountains. So there's that, and I'm truly grateful. They may have youth, but I have experience, trail experience, in fact. And of course, apparently, I have stronger hiking legs. So I would take my victories where I can, right? But watching their amazement reminded me of something. They looked at the mountains and saw something to explore, no fears. They looked at the forest and wanted to know what was around the next corner. They run in without even worrying about poison ivy or oaks. And I love that they were just present. They were thinking about today and maybe tomorrow, and as usual, what we're going to eat for dinner. Meanwhile, my thoughts were thinking about what am I going to do, my legacy, business, financial goals, whether there's enough time to finish everything. There has to be a middle ground somewhere, a place where we can honor that life is short without making every dream feel like it's an emergency. A place where we can be responsible without becoming so cautious that we stop moving. A place where the wisdom we have earned does not become a long list of reasons why we should not try. Maybe that is the real question. Not how do we become fearless again, but what does fearlessness look like now after having lived many lives? I come to think that perhaps fearlessness at 50 probably does not look like fearlessness at 21. It is not believing that nothing can go wrong. By now, we know that many things can go wrong, perhaps, and maybe fearlessness at this age is knowing that things can go wrong and deciding to live anyway. Maybe it is continuing to write even when the final form of the book is still unclear. Or continuing to film even when my channel is small. Even As of late, my video gets 0 views, which I'll talk about in a later episode. Maybe it is allowing a business or creative dream to just become clearer through the work instead of waiting until every part makes sense. Who knows? Maybe finally it's making a decision about something that has been carried for too long. Or, I don't know, believing that slow progress is still progress, no matter how slow. Maybe it is also letting ourselves dream without immediately demanding proof that the dream will succeed. I don't know yet. I really don't. But I challenge myself that I should find out. Perhaps that is part of what the season of life is all about. Not trying to go backward, not trying to become the person we were when we were 21 or even 30 or 40, but remembering the part of us that believed possibility existed and letting that part have a voice again. Because the people we are now, we have experience, we have responsibilities. Yes, we have real fears, and that life truly is a short trip. But maybe there are still roads available to us that we need to just forge. And perhaps the magic is not believing that we can control what comes next. Perhaps the magic is trusting that life still holds possibility that we cannot see yet. So, I am curious. Have you stopped believing that you could do anything? Have you lost some of that fearless energy of your youth? And are you also trying to claim that part of you again? Maybe not like when you were younger, definitely not before life happened, but as the person you are today. So thanks for sitting with me and the chickens and all my feather babies today. And wherever you are and whatever you are carrying, I hope that you feel a little bit less alone. I'm La, and this is Sitting with the Chickens series here on the Accidental Chicken Whisperer. And I will see you next time. Take care.